I would like to tell you thank you for taking the time to meet with us and to do this interview and to kind of answer some of these questions. Northern Ages is super excited to be able to have this conversation. We are committed to amplifying BIPOC voices and creating safe spaces for people of color and uplifting this community. And so our first question comes from Travis Cooley, who's a veteran and a Yukon MSW candidate. And he wants to know, what action have you taken to protect and ensure BIPOC lives since 2021 when racism was declared a public health crisis? And what steps do you plan to take in the near future to ensure equality and equity for the life of BIPOC children, adults, and the elderly?
All right, Travis, there's a lot there. And good to see you, Sasha. Thanks for having me in. I'll say, coming out of COVID, and I saw especially a lot of our young people went through. And that particularly hit black and brown kids, many of whom were living in multi-generational housing. Suffered a lot of hits from COVID, more severe than other parts of the state, other populations. We made special efforts to get those kids back going. Summer learning camps, free camps for these kids. Make sure that they not just catch up on learning, but have a shoulder to lean on and get that very best opportunity. I was really proud that our schools opened earlier than other schools. Give those kids, Zooming wasn't working for everybody when it came to education. A lot of kids were falling behind. A lot of kids were isolated. So I love the fact that our schools got going earlier. We still have a lot of catching up to do. The other thing I'd say specifically for these folks is there's a great job for you, depending on what your age is. We can get you an internship program, get you an apprentice program, or get you an 18-week program, and you get a skill and you get a job. And keep your education going. It's not either or, but it's a way that you can earn while you learn. These are all ways that I think it, get kids off the street, give them hope, give them opportunity. It's a unique time we can do that.
What advice would you give to millennials who are facing the uncertainty of healthcare, Social Security, and the massive debt with student loans?
So I'd say two things. When it comes to healthcare, we've got Access Health. Thanks to Joe Biden, it's been greatly expanded, at least for the next 3 years starting January 1. I've got a new group of brokers, black and brown brokers from the urban communities, knocking on doors to be able to tell you how amazing Access Health is. So if you're earning less than a certain amount of money, it's free, no co-pays, no deductibles. More than that, a real opportunity to save money there on Access Health CT. And also you mentioned about scholarships and make education more affordable so you don't graduate with a ton of debt.
That's important.
Our community colleges are now debt-free. So you can go to community college, no question asked, debt-free. And we'll show you how to maximize that. I've also done something with the companies. I've said, look, if Sasha's sister is graduating with $15,000 in debt and they take a job at your company, if you pay down their debt, say $5,000 a year, I'll give you a tax credit actually for $5,000 a year, so that they have an incentive to pay down their student debt, and in this case, your sister would have an incentive to work here in Connecticut. So that's another way that we're paying down people's debt.
I didn't know that. That's pretty good.
That's why I'm doing this.
All of us are feeling the effects of the economy, and we're heading into the fall and the winter. What is your campaign doing to ensure that there are equitable resources for both the lower and the middle class?
I'd say two things. We have the biggest commitment to workforce training at no cost to you in the history of the state. There are well over 100,000 jobs out there waiting for you. If you want to be a nurse, you want to be a teacher, you want to be an IT person, information technology, you want to be a laser welder or electric boat, there is a guaranteed job for you, and we'll give you the skill sets you need. And I say this to everybody, regardless of race, color, creed, zip code, background, whatever it is, there is a job for you. We'll provide the training you need.
Outside of the jobs, as most of us are experiencing a hike in the heating and the oil, and just the experience of what's happening with folks' Eversource bills, are there any programs or anything that's being developed to offset some of that?
Yes, absolutely. You can go to 211/energy And there's a LIHEAP program, which is low income energy assistance. We just put another $20 million into that. That's a way for folks who are having a hard time paying their home heating bills, for example. We can provide you, I think it's up to $500, so you can fill that tank. If that's the case, my recommendation is take advantage of those LIHEAP money and fill your tank now, because it could be a cold winter and weird stuff is happening in Ukraine, so I can't promise you what supplies are going to be like. Plan ahead.
I love that. How do you plan to tackle and reduce climate change here?
We've done a lot in this sense. Our electric grid is going to be carbon free over the next 15 years. It's already, it'll be 90% carbon free within the next 3 or 4 years. So we're a long way there. That's particularly important to Black and brown populations because they're the ones most likely to live near urban centers, most likely to live next to highways, most likely to suffer from asthma and other conditions. So it's an environmental justice issue as well as a climate change issue.
Do you have any suggestions for how we can support you in that at home?
Yes. We've got a fair amount of energy efficiency money. What the heck does that mean? That means maybe you're living in a house that was built in the 1970s. It's got old windows. Some of the caulking is leaking. You're paying a heck of a lot of money for heating in the winter and the air conditioning in the summer. We can save you $100, $200, $300 a month by going in and changing out that old appliance, that old refrigerator that's sucking electricity. And that's one way I think we can make significant savings for you. And by the way, every kilowatt of electricity you're not using saves the environment.
Okay. These 2 questions come from Danny Myers-Ferguson, who is a local Hartford resident and a contributing writer for us. How committed are you to the development and training of culturally competent mental health professionals within the North End of Hartford?
That's very specific, but let me just say.
Let me broaden that. How committed are you to creating this throughout the state of Connecticut?
I'll broaden it even more. I have commissioners, I have judges, I have teachers, mental health counselors, and I've got to make sure that they reflect the diversity of the community. The Access Health people are often Black and brown folks from the community, so they're knocking on the door and they're telling you about health care. It's really important that somebody be able to look at, in this case, a mental health counselor, and see somebody like them who you think can identify with you and understands a little better where you're coming from. It makes you a much better counselor, it makes you a much better teacher, it makes you a much better coach, whatever it is, if that's reflected there. So it's been a big priority for Susan and I in our administration. I need help with judges, by the way. So if you have any young folks who are thinking about being lawyers, tell them to keep on going and think about being a judge.
I will absolutely pass the word. And I want to tell you that it makes a difference when you look at mental health with someone who looks like you. Most of us have had therapists, and not to have to explain the cultural differences when you are in session and you can openly talk about your experiences and have the freedom to be seen and heard in a way that you often aren't, makes a world of difference. And so I commend you for continuing to do that and to ensure that. This question is about Black-owned. You're welcome. This question is about Black-owned businesses and the lack of equitable funding for us. How do we create dedicated spaces for this, for us to grow in this city, in particular in Hartford, where we experience so much gentrification?
I want everybody. I was fortunate enough to start up a business, and it's the greatest opportunity. So I got job training for people that just want a job at a great company. We also have a lot of resources. That's equity, which is we co-invest alongside of you. We provide the training you need so to help you start up your own business right in the North End, right in your community. And maybe you already have that business right now, auto parts, or whatever it might be. We've got some resources to help you grow and expand. And it's a big focus on an underserved community. I want to make sure that, again, entrepreneurs are in the community, of the community, by the community. I'll tell you, a long time ago, 30 years ago, I was a teacher at Harding High School in Bridgeport. And I was a part-time teacher, and I taught a course on entrepreneurship. So all these kids from Harding High School in Bridgeport, give them an opportunity, show them what it's like to start up your own business. So 30 years later, I love the fact that I'm giving these same folks now an opportunity to start their business and the resources to do it.
Do some of these resources include some help in terms of business structure, understanding accounting and taxes? For a lot of us, you get the entrepreneur gene whether you want it to or not. Life forces you to figure out a hustle and figure out another way to bring in a second stream of income. And a lot of times when we figure that aspect out, we don't necessarily have the tools and the wisdom to structure it properly so that the business not only grows, but that we're viable, so we can compete for government contracts, so we can expand, and so we can even see spaces to collaborate with other businesses to strengthen both perspectives and both entities.
Yeah, we have a mentor who's identified with your business. So maybe it's accounting or borrowing and working with a bank, whatever that skill set may be. We're providing you the tools. So it's not just resources, it's not just money, but it's also know-how to help you get on your feet so you learn how to do that.
Perfect. That's important. This question comes from Rasheen from Worthyonomics. How do you plan to bring more business and attract the top talent into our state?
They're coming. For the first time in 30 or 40 years, we've had tens of thousands of new young families move into the state of Connecticut. So those moving vans are turning around. They're getting into schools. They're starting up businesses. We've had more new business startups in the last 2 years than probably ever before in the history of the state. But they come, because we've got the opportunity, we got the job training. They come because we have some of the best schools in the country right here, great public schools where your kid will get the very best opportunity in life. And let's face it, it's a pretty beautiful state. Our cities are slowly coming back to life. They went through some hard times there. And a lot of housing is being built. There's a lot more lights turning on in Hartford and Danbury and our other cities. And I think that's attracting young people.
So in this new term, you're elected. Where are you looking to be consistent in terms of supporting this community? Is there a certain initiative that you want to hunker down on? Are there opportunities and resources that you want to bring in for both communities? Or is it just something particular in terms of the House bills that you want to focus on?
Nah, it's not the House bills I want to focus on. It's opportunity. First time in my life, I got 125,000 jobs we can't fill. We got resources to help you train for a business or help you start up your own business. And I want to make sure that's for folks in every single one of our urban communities. Folks who maybe said, oh boy, I'd never have the opportunity to start a business. This is your opportunity to do it right now. Look, in the old days, you would give, hundreds of millions of dollars to some company from out of state and see if you can bring them in. I believe in giving people the opportunity right here in the state of Connecticut, folks who otherwise might not ever have gotten that opportunity.
That sounds amazing. I would suggest you guys promote and market these new jobs because most of us in the urban community don't know that they're there and these opportunities are there.
We have LEAP, we have people knocking on doors. Obviously, websites work for some people, not for everybody. And we have them affiliated with all of our community colleges. No cost. We'll provide you free bus service there, we'll provide you free daycare if you need it, and we'll provide you the skills you need. And sometimes you get that skill in 18, 24 weeks, so you're not graduating with a lot of debt. You're graduating with the know-how to get going.
Those resources are important, and if you are in a position or need those resources, I want you to take advantage of them. We don't know how long we'll have them. So, everyone's talking about prison reform. We're talking about Connecticut's numbers and what's happening and the travesty with our prison system here and throughout the country and looking at generalization of where these prisoners are coming from. Is there anything you want to say in terms of speaking to this?
Then I want to give everybody the best second chance they deserve. And we're doing lots of job training right in our correctional facilities. So if you did something stupid and you regret it, you have to do some time in corrections. You're getting out as corrections. We're giving you the very best opportunity.
How can folks utilize that second chance? What are their options in terms of those programs?
Well, in correctional facilities, we'll reach out to you. We'll let you know what those chances are. For somebody that does it's a first or second time offense, they've done something stupid, and they're not going to a correctional facility. We're going to make sure you get on the straight and true again with the training and the coaching and the mentoring and the counseling that you need to stay above board.
Okay, I have one more question. We're hearing a lot of talk about tolls coming to Connecticut. And there's not clear.
There was talk, but now there's no talk.
So there's no
No.
talk coming.
But, we have to pay for fixing our roads and bridges. I've got free bus service in all of our cities right now. But we've got a fee on the big tractor-trailer trucks that drive through our state.
Okay.
That's helping. There is a gasoline tax for people who are driving cars. That's helping, but no tolls.
Okay, that's good to hear. Is there anything that you want to share that we haven't covered?
I'd only tell people elections matter. And we have an election coming up in 30 days. And pay special attention and exercise your right to vote. I think you know where I stand in terms of giving people opportunity, regardless of background, special emphasis upon Black and brown populations, making sure your kid or you, the one maybe you want to change jobs, here's your opportunity to take advantage of that opportunity. That's what this is all about.
As always, I appreciate your time. Please let us know if there's anything else that Northern Agents can do for you and your team, and we look forward to seeing you in the near future.
Thank you.
Thank you.